Good morning, Bradley here. As I look into the camera, there's my hat. Looks like somebody sat on it during the winter. I don't know. Kind of, there we go. That's a little bit better. Oh well, we'll have to do with that. I just want to show 2 or 3 albums I got in the last couple months, and these were all off of Discogs. So we'll start out. This one I got probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've been on a Shelley Man kick for probably a year. So I sold this on Discogs and went after it. It is Shelley Man, Bill Evans, and Manne Up on bass. Empathy is the name of the album. It's on Verve, I believe 62 probably. And I'll show you the inner because it's kind of interesting. There's some pictures there. There's the group, and right here looks like Shelley Man is playing behind a drum. It says NRA. Is that what I'm thinking of? I don't know. The logo says we do our part. I'm thinking it's the NRA. Piano trio. Piano trio. Excellent piano trio. A lot of this seems like it was fairly improvised, which is very good. Bill Evans, come on, you can't get any better than him. Shelley Man on drums, excellent musician. And Manne Up, who played a lot with Shelley Man on bass, just keeps everything together. So now this is probably under Shelley Man's name because his comes before Bill Evans. So, but it's equally, it could be a Bill Evans album actually. Fairly upbeat, I believe. It says it was recorded in August 14th, 1962 at Rudy Van Gelder's studio. Pretty playful on this, and it sounds like these 3 guys are having a really fun time doing this record. It's very enjoyable. Now this copy, I don't know. Everything says Verve on it, but on one of the notifications from Discogs, I thought it said Speaker's Corner, so, but it doesn't say anything at all on this album about Speaker's Corner. So, but it's very laminated or glossy. So, very cool album. I'm happy I got that. Okay, let's continue with Shelley Man because I've been on a kick. I've shown a couple of these albums in the last probably year. There was 4 volumes originally released. So this is my latest acquisition. This is volume 1. Shelley Man and His Men at the Black Hawk in San Francisco, volume 1. So right now I have volumes 1, 2, and 3, which I will show you right here. 1, 2, and 3 at the top. All the cover photographs are the same, just different color of lettering and the volume numbers. So this, in my opinion, take it or leave it, this is some of the best live jazz ever recorded. Of course, there's a lot of good live jazz recorded, but this definitely is right at the top. It was Contemporary Records is what it was on. And Contemporary was really known for their really good sounding studio albums. So that transferred through to this live recording. Excellent. You have Shelley Man on drums, Joe Gordon on trumpet, Richie Kamuka tenor sax, Victor Feldman piano, and Monty Budwig on bass. Absolutely fantastic sounding recordings. And sometimes if you ever get into an argument with a person who prefers CDs, what I would do, since I have these albums, and I do have the CDs, the complete 4 volumes, plus an additional 5th volume on CD, all I would have to do was put the CDs on and then put these records on. It blows the CD versions completely away. It's amazing. Really good sound. And the condition of these 3 records vary. I think volume 2 is my best sounding. It's like near mint. The latest, volume 1, it was advertised as near mint. No, it's not. I pulled it out of the sleeve and it was dusty and kind of dirty. And whatever, it's not near mint at all. VG Plus, yeah, whatever. I'll give them that. But anyhow, if you ever want, and these albums, that series, excuse me, has not been reissued for a long time. Volume 1 was reissued probably 10 or 15 years ago on Wax Time, I believe. But you got to look for them on Discogs or eBay. But if you're so inclined, it's well worth it. Okay, the last album, also a Discogs purchase. This was, I probably picked this up 3 or 4 months ago. I just have not shown it because it's probably not one of my favorite albums, but it's on impulse, and I like to get those. This is not original, but it was in the early, it was in the 60s. It was a repress. So I'm talking about Earl Hines. It's called Once Upon a Time. Now this was, I am not sure what year. I'm going to say 65 maybe, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. I think a lot of members of Duke Ellington's band plays on this. I know Clark Terry, Paul Gonsalves, Peewee Russell, if you've ever heard of him, which I'll talk briefly about him in a minute. Earl Hines, he played with Louis Armstrong in the 1920s. That shows you how old, or he'd been playing jazz forever. He played through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Always had more of a big band type piano, which I do have another album by him, solo piano, which is kick-ass, just fantastic. But anyhow, around 1960, he pretty much quit the music business. His style was not in demand, but then he recorded, well, he recorded a couple albums, I think, in the 60s, early 60s. But Impulse put this album out, and right at this time he was had a resurgence in his popularity. People were just going like, this guy is a jazz treasure. And actually the downbeat jazz magazine, they always had a poll. So during the mid-60s up to, I don't know, 69 or 70 maybe, he won the best jazz pianist like 5 years in a row, I believe, if I read that correctly. So, now this is not my favorite type of music. It's not hard bop. It's kind of beckons back a little bit earlier time in jazz. But, and I was talking about Peewee Russell, who was a clarinetist, which he fits in pretty good with this, you know, not my cup of tea. But I was reading Art Taylor's book a few months ago, and he had a little story about Peewee Russell. It was probably late 50s or sometime, and he was playing at a jazz festival. I don't know if it was Newport or somewhere, but he was going to be teamed with Thelonious Monk. They were supposed to play together. And anyhow, showtime was getting nearer and nearer, and Monk had not shown up, and Peewee Russell was sweating bullets because he said, I gotta play, which I will show you. He's right in the middle. Oops. Right there, Peewee Russell. He was sweating bullets because he said, I cannot go on and play with Thelonious Monk without getting a little of what he's going to do. And he probably had good reason, because I don't care how good a musician you were, that would be fear, I think, going on stage and playing with Thelonious Monk. Following him would be extremely hard. So, anyhow, in this album, it's cool. It's got the original sleeve, which advertises the previous releases on Impulse. So it's always nice to have that. So anyhow, those are 3 records I've gotten off of Discogs in the last couple months. So that's about all I have to say today. I just hope everybody maintains, be wise, be wary, whatever. So that's all I have to say. I'll catch you next time. See you.